What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir Rahimi.
And today on The Great Debaters, DJ Quik, man, taking it back to the origins of the Quikster. Great Debaters. Alright, Amir, so today on The Great Debaters, we're going to be looking at DJ Quik. Quik Is The Name. His debut album came out in '91, and we're going to be picking our 3 favorite tracks on the album, which, even though there's only 13, is a very tall task, because basically every song on here is incredible. Not coincidentally, this album is a lot of people's favorite album of DJ Quik. It's also his best-selling album, and it's also the one that established Quik as, in my opinion, the best rapper-producer in rap history, and also opened up the floodgates for all the DJ Quik affiliated artists to come out and later in '91 and then also throughout the years. So Amir, for you, as your introduction to DJ Quik, was this your introduction to DJ Quik, or how did that happen?
So I'll actually just get into one of my top picks right now because it answers this question.
Okay.
One of my top picks is Born and Raised in Compton.
Alright.
And I was introduced to that song not from this album, but from... So when I first started listening to rap, I was first majorly... I was really listening to NWA heavily. And...
as you should.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Shout out to the poster in the back. So, I was listening to NWA extensively, and then I made it a point to get anything with NWA's name on it. So there was a compilation called NWA Legacy Volume 2.
Okay.
There's also Volume 1, obviously, but Volume 2, it had Born and Raised in Compton on it. And it's always interesting because they had a bunch of artists who weren't in NWA, but were just affiliated or from Compton or just associated acts, part of the family tree,
right,
whatever you want to call it. And that's how I got introduced to a lot of people. And I was kind of like, okay, well, I need to listen to this artist next, this artist next. So DJ Quik's Born and Raised in Compton made it to that compilation, and I listened to it, and I loved it. But it wasn't until, like, I don't know, probably a year later till I got this album. Maybe 2, I don't remember. But, so that song was just, I loved it. You know, just another a track. And I just love how when people, and we talked about this in other videos, where artists will put their city on the map or talk about their city or certain sets within their city, and they'll also shout out parts of their crew, members who are going to be coming out or already established or whatever. So he'll mention people like AMG, he'll mention Second and None, and he also mentioned like Pyru and all that. So it's just, that song is just excellent. Oh, and also, maybe this is another reason why they added it to the compilation, but he samples NWA on the hook. So
this is also one of my favorite songs, Born and Raised in Compton, and I was going to bring up other points that you didn't mention, which one of which was the sampling, but then also the scratching. So this was back in '91. This is toward the tail end of where we're hearing a lot of scratching on albums. Unfortunately, that was fading away, and this was kind of the last movement of that, or one of the last movements of that. And I just love the sound of scratching. I love the creativity, and I love how you can have someone else help tell your story through scratching. And Born and Raised in Compton does a great job of that, especially at the end where you get that little break and there's more scratching on it. And I just loved it, man. I loved Quik talking about his city, talking about how people were trying to stop him by stealing his equipment, all of which, getting to know Quik and talk to Quik over the years, that's all true and autobiographical, so that even made it more powerful later when I realized that. But I of course believed it to be true, but then when I talked to Quik and he explained the whole story in a lot of detail to me over the years, it just made those songs that much more powerful. And then I liked, this is something that Quik, I think, doesn't get a lot of credit for, and we'll talk about on some of my other favorites, but he's also a great writer and able to tell like really good stories. So he has a lot of braggadocio, of course, in the song, but it's also interwoven with the stories that he's telling. So Amir, we both share a favorite. What's another one for you?
So I'm going to go in with another single, because that was a single off the album, Tonight.
Okay.
That I also believe is his best-selling single, or his favorite single as well. And like you said, this was his best-selling album to date. That song, man, I've heard that song just so much in like such random places. I didn't think they'd be playing this song. Dude, the instrumental is just so incredible. For one, it's super laid back. He even went on to say that at that time he was more of a lightweight because he was drinking just like either 40s or beer and stuff like that, but then he started to drink vodka and other stuff, and then he was, even in the song, he kind of like details his day. You know, he's taking a bath, he's getting ready, he's talking to the homies, some other rappers within his clique, and then, you know, comes Friday night, he ends up, you know, what throwing up, and then he has like the 7-Up to clear his head and all that stuff. And then what do you know, the next night he's doing the same thing on Saturday. Right. He's going to do the same old shit tonight because then he invited some chicks and whatever. You know, so it's just like, it's not like a super lyrical, oh, you have to decipher the song, but it's just like...
It's a good story.
It's a good story. It's something like, oh, this is what we do every weekend. It's a very relatable song. It's something that we can all relate to, especially when we're, you know, in college and in our 20s and whatever. This is what a lot of people are doing on the weekly basis. So DJ Quik with the very like familiar, fun rhymes and still keeping it very Compton with the sound and everything. Just excellent song.
Yeah, that was one of those songs too, man. It was, being from Maryland, that was a song that a lot of people liked, even though it didn't get a lot of play at the time. I could tell how popular the song was around the country based on the fact that people loved it in Maryland. So I was like, man, if my friends or people around me know and like this song, I imagine that it's a huge song. Because at that point, I, you know, wasn't traveling or anything, and I hadn't started writing for another few years, so I really only had Maryland as my gauge, and then from what I could read and tell. But people love that song, man. And in Maryland, they were not, in general, they liked everything like me, but they definitely gravitated more towards the New York artists and even the Philly artists. So, you know, it wasn't as much from the West Coast unless it was the top tier guys. And then DJ Quik, I think, with Tonight showed to everybody that he was one of the top tier guys. So that was very exciting. And I'm having a little bit of a challenge because Tonight, as much as I like it, I think it's great and it's phenomenal, but I'm gonna go in a different direction with my other two songs.
Okay.
One that was interesting to me and one of my favorites was the first song.
Dude.
So that one, Sweet Black Pussy. Now,
yes.
The thing that threw me off when I got the album and I heard it, and one of the reasons it's my favorite, is because I had always, as a little kid, realized I was attracted to girls of all backgrounds and all nationalities and everything. So when I heard this song, I had, you know, you have the conscious political rappers that were like Jungle Brothers had Black Woman, for instance, and then you have the opposite side of the coin where you have, as we all know, a lot of the songs that would be deemed negative or songs about bitches or hoes or whatever by the time we get into 1991. But then DJ Quik kind of, in a way, did a hybrid of that, like about what he cherished and loved about Black women and their physicality and all this other stuff, but then also was raunchy about it. So it was kind of a weird thing, and it just registered with me as someone that was, as a kid, attracted to Black women and grew up around Black women and admired and thought they were beautiful and gorgeous and all this stuff. When I heard this song, I was just like, oh man, you know, he's talking about it because he loved it, and I was like, oh, okay, like that's something I can, you know, relate to, and I thought was something that resonated with me in a way, not for the, you know, the profane, strictly sexual part of it, but in general, like, oh, you know, I get what he's talking about and what he means. So that was a song that meant a lot to me and kind of hit home for me at the time, on not in the way that he was saying it, but more in a general overall, like, admiring Black women thing. So
Yeah, dude, that was one that was just outside of my three. So that was like it was really head to head with the song I'm about to talk about, but also just to name the song, what he named it, and track one, it's just like it's just so interesting and so funny.
Definitely.
And it's such a good song.
It's an amazing song, but then also, like you said, to start the album off that way, I was just like, what?
Yeah, you would think it would be with something like either Quik Is The Name or Born and Raised in Compton to set it off, like one of those tracks, but it ends up being Sweet Black Pussy.
Yeah.
It's just so...
Because, you look at, like I was saying, with the Jungle Brothers, and then at that time on the opposite end of the spectrum, of course, you had like the 2 Live Crew, where it was purely just about getting sex, or getting with a girl, or whatever, and that's all it was about. Whereas Quik, clearly that's an objective of the song, and that's what he's talking about, but I think there's a deeper element of it, of what he's saying. So anyway, that's one. So what's number 3 for you?
So the last one, this is the one that was kind of head-to-head with Sweet Black Pussy. For me, this is one that just sounds so different from the rest of the album, and it's the Bomb Bud.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily a fan of Rasta music or
That's
reggae or anything like
shocked.
that. I'm really not, but Quik just really hits it for me here. Like, I like Quik's take on it. I also like, we've heard Spice One do it. I like when Spice One does it as well. But just something about the instrumental, man. I love it. I love Quik rapping and harmonizing and everything, but I also love how he just really adopts the entire style. Instead of saying I, he'll say me. In like every line, he's saying me do this, me. Instead of I do this, I do that. He's really just adopting the style, and it's just, I like just how he takes on the whole character of that, and just the awesome instrumental, the catchy chorus. It's just a song that I just really, really like. I think Quik just really nails it on that one. And then he follows it up, like, on each album, like he'll have the Quik's grooves and do that. He's also followed up with the Bomb Bud 2, etc. So, it's pretty dope. I like that one.
Well, that's an interesting pick, and definitely not knowing you and talking to you about music for several years now. That is very surprising. So my third pick of my third favorite song is Loped Out Hood.
Okay.
And this song I talk about and mention in my book, The History of Gangster Rap, which everybody should pick up if they haven't yet. Please do. But Loped Out Hood I just thought was amazing because he's telling this story, and he's telling like a real gangbanging gangster story at an era in 91 where gangster rap was known by that name at this point, but it hadn't talked much about actual gangbanging yet. And this was on the early wave of that. Schoolie D had done it with PSK. Schoolie D did it also on Parkside 5-2, talking about his gang name, talking about what they're going to do and all this different stuff. But then Quik was one of, if not the first LA rappers to really tell a story and name the names of the streets and the names of the neighborhoods and the names of the blocks and all this different stuff. That was very early in the game, and I didn't fully understand everything he was saying, being from Maryland and not knowing the ins and outs of all the gang stuff like clearly he did or someone living here would have. But later, a year or two later, when I started getting more familiar with all the streets and the neighborhoods and this and that, then I was like, oh man, that Loped Out Hood, that was like a big deal for what he was saying in there. And for me, that adds an extra layer to the song of a great story and great way he went through the entire thing and kept the energy up and was telling his story. And then also, I just think it's a great song, and it was just amazing to really show what people at that point had gotten familiar with the type of songs that NWA, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, Ice-T, and Compton's Most Wanted and others had started making, that Quik really took it there on a different level. And then of course being a Blood and talking about those different neighborhoods. Again, I didn't understand and appreciate it as much as I do now, but it was very powerful in my opinion. So that's my 3 picks. We got Amir's 3 picks on the 3 best songs from Quik Is The Name 1991. But make sure you guys hit us up and let us know what you think are your 3 favorite tracks from Quik Is The Name. DJ Quik, in my opinion, the best rap producer and rapper in the game in history. So hit us up, let us know what you think in the comment section. I'm Soren Baker.
I'm Amir Rahimi.
Rappin and Snackin, Unique Access. Hit us up.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the DOC, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It would be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the street. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.